Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Detroit Association of Detroit Association of Black Storytellers, 4th Friday Story Hour. I know it's a lot of people. I get it. One of these days I'm gonna get it. But today we're highlighting 3 very important women that are part of the association, or at least being part of the association. Starting out with our very own Vice President, Maxine King. Now, she has been in education for 56 years, if you heard that right, 56 years. Since 1968, she has been in education, spanning from a primary school teacher all the way through to a superintendent of a Lansing school district. Now, she has been, even after her education, she has been still going through and empowering and advocating for our youth in their education, in their learning environments, and making sure they have a good quality learning space so that they can grow and prosper. So without further ado, here we have Maxine King.
Back in Africa, under the wawa tree every morning, 3 young girls would come and get things from their nana to take to the villages. Amani, Avery, Michaela. Every morning they would come to the wawa tree. Michaela comes and she gets some berries. Nana says, take this to the villagers. Give them these berries. And Michaela was walking to the village. And all of a sudden, something reaches and touches her right here. Oh! She runs, she runs, she runs. Amani goes under the wawa tree. And the grandma gives her some yams to take to the village. Amani is walking near the bush. And all of a sudden, something reaches out and touches her right here. Oh my God, she says. Then the next one comes and grandma gives her some greens. Take these, she says, to the villagers. And she walks, and she's walking, and she's walking, and she walks. And all of a sudden, someone touches her right here. And she's frightened. All 3 girls go, and they tell their uncle, Uncle, we were walking, delivering the goods, like Grandma tells us. And all of a sudden, someone touches me right here, her right here, and her right here. How awful that is, he said. We must go and tell Nana. And they all go and they tell Nana. And Nana says, who was this person? And they all say it was in a Bruni. A Bruni means white man. How did he look? How did he look? Who touched you here and here and here? Oh, he was a fat man. A fat man, they say. Oh, and he was old. He was old. He is old. And he wore a red tie. The red tie. And he wore his hair. Nana, Grandma, like this, like this. Go, God, go, God. Go and find this man. Go and find this fat man. Go and find this old man. Go and find this man that wears a red tie and wears his hair like this. And the guards go, and they go, and they go, and they search in the village. They go, they search in the village. They can't find him. So they go to the city. They go to Accra, to all of the new places in town. And they find this fat old man who wears a red tie and his hair like this and Kentucky Fried Chicken. They grab him and they take him to the village where all of the elders are in a circle. The Nana says, put the fat old man in the middle. Why did you do this, young man? Or Bruni, why did you do this? Or Bruni says, what are you talking about? Speak English so we can hear you. Why did you touch my granddaughter's hair and hair and hair? You have placed shame on us. Who do you think you are? Coming to our country, coming to Mother Africa Africa and disrespecting the women of Africa. We don't act like that here. This is a safe place to be. Women are respected here. You don't touch our young girls or our older women like that. So, they say to him, again, why did you do that? The fat old man again mumbled some words that were not really understood by the others. He said something about, I want to make Africa great again. You want to make Africa great again? Africa is already great. I know, but I think I can do more things for Africa, Leah Bruni said. Like what? I can bring more jobs to Africa. I can bring more peace to Africa. I can bring more love to Africa. I can do a lot of things for Africa. The Nana says, we don't need you to do great things for Africa. All that you have mentioned to us, we already have. We need you to go back. Go back to where you come. Where do you come from? I come from the United States of America. Oh, I know that man. I've seen him on the news. The fat man, the old man, the man with the red tie and who wears his hair like that. I've seen him on the news. That man. I can't remember his name, but he's always saying he wants to make America great again. There's silence. The villagers are thinking about this man. He says he wants to make America great again. He says he wants to make Africa again. I know this man. I know who you are. I know what we have to do. We have to lock him up. Lock the fat old man up. Lock up the man with the red tie and wears his hair like this. Lock him up. And build a wall around him. Build a wall around him. And guess what? And make him pay for it. Go! There was a father who waited a long, long time for children to come into his life. And finally, children came into his life. 2 twins. And he named the twins special names. Asante, which means thank you, God. Kareem, which means brave. And every morning before they went to school, the father talked to the sons about how important it was to represent the family. We have given you this name, Cain. We've given you names with meaning. And now you need to honor these names. Know that when you leave this house, you must be respectful. Know that you must honor our name. Unbeknown to the father, when the twins went to school, out in the community, one twin was good twin. He was known as the good twin. The other twin was known as bad twin. The bad twin would go out and tease people. bullied people. He even talked about the boy who stuttered. He pulled the girl's hair. He even cursed in the bathroom. I saw him one time writing graffiti on the wall. The good twin, on the other hand, helped people. If you needed some help with your homework, and he knew it, the good twin would help you with your homework. If you were sitting by yourself in the cafeteria, the good twin would come and sit beside you. He was always complimenting people. The father had told him, always be safe. Always go to where it is safe. The boys grew older. The bad boy did bad things every day. The good boy did good things every day. Respecting his name came. One day there was a fight after the football game. Two girls were fighting over a boy who didn't even recognize them as his girlfriend. And everybody around them were going, fight, 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 fight. Bad boy heard this. And bad boy ran to the 50-yard line where they were fighting and joined in the chant, fight, 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 fight. While good boy remembered what his father said. Good boy remembered that his dad had read him something important every day. How important it was to honor his name. Bad boy, on the other hand, was watching two boys fight. They had taken off their earrings. One wig was off. Somebody lost their eyeglasses. They fight, they fight, they fight, they fight, they fight. Bam! All of a sudden, a gunshot goes off. And bad boy is hit in the eye. Everybody else scurries. Leaving bad boy all by himself with that eye oozing with blood coming out of it. And as bad boy lay there by himself with his eye in so much excruciating pain, he recalled what his daddy had told him, to go where it's safe, to walk away from danger, to go where it is safe. Good boy came to his brother's rescue. And together, they slowly walked to the office. The policeman came, took a report, hospitalized bad boy, and bad boy was lying in bed as his father came to him. The father said, I'm glad, son, that you are here with me. But had you not been obedient, son, would this have happened? What did I read to you every day? What did I tell you every day, my son? I said, honor our name, respect our name. I'm going to read this to you once more, and I want you to listen carefully to what I'm saying. Your name is Cain. And it said, you got your name from your father. It was all he had to give. So it's yours to use and cherish for as long as you may live. If you lose a watch, like this watch here, it can always be replaced. But a black mark on your name, son, can never be erased. It was clear the day you took it and the worthy name to bear. When he got it from his father, there was no dishonor there. So make sure you guard it wisely After all is said and done, you'll be glad the name is spotless when you give it to your son. Marie, the brave one supposedly. Regretfully, your name is not spotless anymore. You placed a black spot on your name. But moving forward, Marie, my son, what lesson have you learned? Have you learned that you have the power to walk away from danger? Have you learned the power that God has given you? Have you learned that life is short and you need to fill it with things that are helpful? What lessons have you learned, son? What lessons have you learned? What lessons have you learned, son? What lessons have you learned? I'm all ears, son. I'm listening to you.
Hello. Thank you so much for sharing your stories today. We always love to have you on the DABS stage.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course, of course. So, if there's one thing that you could say that you like about DABS and your time of being with DABS, what was one thing that you would say was like your favorite moment or favorite aspect of the organization?
I just like the blackness of it. I like the African-centeredness of it. I like the way that we are still trying to maintain the oral traditions, the telling of stories in an oral fashion, because we seem to have lost that art. At one time, that was all that we did. Our grandparents set us under a tree or at their feet as they rocked in their rocking chairs, and they told us about their life story, about their history, about their parents' history, about their parents' parents' history. And we listened intently as young people, and we seem to have lost that art. So I like the way that we are trying to maintain the art of oral storytelling, and most recently trying to get more young people involved in it.
Of course. Got to maintain our spaces. Since we've been left out of so many spaces, we create ones for ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
And then there's one woman in your life that you feel like influenced you, like was a major influence in your life. Who would that be?
My mother, Rebecca Hankin is her name. A daughter of sharecroppers, picking cotton and tobacco every summer. She would have us go to South Carolina every summer and pick cotton and tobacco. I remember those days. I remember the chickens, the hogs, the cows, the horses, the tobacco fields, the cotton fields. But what she taught me is that no one is any better than I am, and no one is any less than I am. That I should feel comfortable in my skin, walking among kings and queens, and just as comfortable in my skin with that homeless guy or that homeless lady like Karen who just died recently on the streets.
Again, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us. Is there anywhere that we can find you that you want to share with the audience?
Well, you can find me on my email or my phone number. I'll give you my email.
You want to share your email?
I sure will. You can find me at Maxine, M-A-X-I-N-E, Cain, C-A-I-N, at me.com. Again, Maxine Cain at me.com.
Thank you so much again, and we'll be right back after a message from our sponsor, Unity Church.
This month's episode is brought to you by A Place for You and Me, Detroit Unity Temple. Founded in 1916 as an inclusive spiritual community dedicated to teaching a powerful message that supports each person's unique path. Right there at 17505 2nd Avenue near Palmer Park. That's where you'll find challenges and opportunities of living meet the awesome power of God. A Place for You and Me Detroit Unity Temple.
Thank you again to Unity Church for sponsoring this episode of the DABS Fourth Friday Story Hour. Now, our next storyteller is Leah Rich, and she has been on the Fourth Friday Story Hour almost every season that we've had it, so we're glad to have her back. Now, she has also been an educator for her entire career. She worked for DPS, and after retiring, she noticed that storytelling was an amazing way to get children and students engaged and motivated and inspired to continue their education and their learning. So she's joined DABS and another group called Parent Storytellers in January of 2020 to help promote and hone her skills, her storytelling skills, so that she can continue to do her mission. So without further ado, here is Leah Rich.
Good morning. I am Leah Rich, and I am delighted to be here to share the DABS stage and stories with you. I wonder if you ever thought about why people fight. Why can't we all get along? Just as Rodney King questioned. The title of my story, my first story, is Why People Fight. Join me as I follow behind the coyote and the hare to find out why people fight. The coyote asked all of the animals that he came in contact with, "Can you tell me why people fight?" And they would give him an explanation, but he didn't think it was very good. So finally, he came upon the hare, and he said to the hare, "Can you tell me why people fight?" The hare thought about it for a moment, and he said, "Come, and I will show you the kind of thing that makes people fight." So the coyote followed the hare, and they went to a snare trap that was set by a hunter. And in that snare trap was a small antelope. They took that small antelope out of the trap and they took it to the river. And at the river, they found a fishing net that was full of small fish. They took the fish out of the net and they put it into the snare, the game snare. And they took the antelope and they put the antelope inside the fishing net. Then Hare said to Coyote, "Come, now let's go hide among the bushes, and you are going to see just the kind of thing that make people fight." So, a few minutes later, the hunter came, and the fisherman came. The fisherman went to his net, and the hunter went to his snare trap. And the hunter looked into his snare trap, and he saw a fish. And he said, "The nerve! I know what happened." And then he took off angrily toward the fisherman, and he said to the fisherman, "Why have you put your fish in my trap? Do you think I not know?" And the fisherman looked at him and said, "No, it is you who have taken the fish out of my trap and replaced it with your antelope." And the game hunter said, "Why would I want your useless, small fish?" And they began to argue. And they started to trade blows with one another. The hare looked at the coyote and said, "Now, Do you see why people fight? And the coyote looked at the hare and said, now I get it. And they both walked along their own way. Now, we have to be very careful because not only do people who don't know one another fight, but if you aren't careful, you can get in a fight with your best friend. And it can bring to an end years of friendship. My second tale is a Yoruba tale. And it explains, or it is entitled, A Quarrel Between Two Friends. Once, there were two farmers who lived down the road from one another, and they were best friends. Now, there was a neighbor who wanted to test just how strong their friendship was. So this neighbor came up with a plan, and he made a hat. The hat was red on one side and green on the other side. So this neighbor decided that he was going to stroll down the path. And that's exactly what he did. And the first farm he came to was Emoji's farm. It was on the left. And he said, "Hi, Emoji. Good morning." And Emoji replied, "Good morning, good neighbor. I just love that red hat you're wearing." And he said, "Oh, I made it myself. See you later." And he continued, the neighbor continued to stroll down the road. And then on the right side, he came to Alea's farm. And he waved at Alea as Alea worked in his yam garden. And he said, "Good morning, Alea. How are you?" And Alea said, "I am doing well." "Wow, that is really a nice green hat you're wearing." And the neighbor said, "Thank you. I made it myself." When afternoon came, Emoji and Alea sat down on the path, eating lunch. They talked about this, they talked about that, and they talked about the other. Then Emoji said, "Did you see our neighbor's new red hat? He said he made it himself." And Alea said, "His hat wasn't red, it was green." And Emoji said, "No, it was red. I said to him, 'I like your red hat,' and he didn't correct me. The sun must have been in your eye." And Alea said, "No, my friend. You are the one who was mistaken. I told him that I just adored his green hat, and he didn't correct me." And the two became more insistent and more combative. Their voices grew louder and louder. Their voices also grew angrier and angrier. And then they got closer and closer to one another. And then, just like that, Alea was getting ready to grab Emoji. And who do you think should appear? The neighbor came and walked between them. But this time, he turned so that the opposite side of the hat that the two friends had seen in the morning was visible. And the neighbor said, two fighting? I don't understand. You are the best of friends. And Alea looked at Emoji. And Alea said, you know what? You were right, Emoji. That hat is red. I made a mistake. And Emoji said, no, 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 no. The hat is actually green. I am the one who made the mistake. And they were just about to fight and start arguing again. But the neighbor spoke up. He took that hat off and he showed the hat to both of them. And they got to see that half of it was red, half of it was green. And the neighbor said, I don't understand. The two of you are such good friends. Why are you going to let a simple thing such as the color of a hat rob you of your friendship? And then Alea reached out to Emoji and said, oh, Emoji, I am so sorry. I will never argue with you again. And Alea also embraced Emoji and said, you know what? Our friendship is much too valuable to be broken up by a simple disagreement. And they made an oath to one another that very day that they would never, ever argue about anything again because their friendship was just too valuable. And they never did. My last story is a Nigerian tale, and it's called The Suspect. Once there was a king who lived in a village. And this king had a beautiful inlaid knife. It was forged by the finest craftsmen in Benin. And it was inlaid with copper and brass. And it was the king's most prized possession. One day, the king had a carnival in his village, and people came from far and wide to enjoy the festivities. They ate, they sang, they laughed, they danced until their heart's content. And at the end, the king gave them gifts. After the carnival was over, everybody went home. Then the king decided to look for his knife, his most prized possession. And he couldn't find it. He looked everywhere, but he could not find it. So then the king came to a conclusion. You know what happened? I know what happened. One of the people who came to the festivities stole my knife. And so he sent out a message all over the land saying that someone has stolen my most prized possession. And that anyone who found the guilty party would be given a reward. Now, this message went out to all the land, and when people received it, they say, how dare somebody take the king's knife? You know, that's not right. And in one particular village, the village of Jibo, the members became angry, and they said, there was a hunter who lived in that village. And the hunter lived alone. And they looked at him suspiciously suspiciously, and then they approached him and they said, "You are a hunter, aren't you? Oh, you were at the king's carnival, weren't you?" And he said, "Yes, I was. And I ate, and I danced, and I enjoyed the festivities like everyone else. What of it?" Then they eyed him even more suspiciously and said, "And you have a knife, don't you? And you hunt?" And the hunter said, "I have many weapons, and I would never use the king's knife to skin animals." And then he decided, "I don't like the way this line of questioning is going," and he just walked away. And then the members of the village said, "Look at him. He looks very suspicious. He got angry when we questioned him. He couldn't even maintain eye contact. He's very defensive. He must be guilty." And a man felt so stressed that he would not come among his village people. He would stay in the bush, return at night, and then when he did get game or skin to sell, he would take it to another village because no one would patronize him. And then and then the king sent the message that he found the knife. He had misplaced it. He had put it at the top of the hut for safekeeping, and it fell down. And once that happened, the village people, their attitudes turned completely. Well, they said, "Oh, that hunter is so nice. You can tell he's a really hard worker. And he stays in the brush, and he does not come back until he has captured something." And they said, "Oh, you know what? He really is an honest man. He puts in a good day's work for a good dollar. He is an honest man, and he is to be trusted at all times."
Hello, thank you for gracing us for the Fourth Friday Story Hour again. I think you've been on every season since we started, right?
I think this is my third one, or fourth one.
I think we only got 4 seasons, so
Okay, then.
glad to have you back. Looking forward to seeing you next year as well.
All right.
So, what was one thing about DABS that like gravitated you towards like wanting to have other people like join? Like, what's one thing that you would say is a benefit for other people looking to join?
Because it provides an opportunity for you to practice your skill and develop yourself as a storyteller. They don't just look at putting you out there with absolutely no support. You get feedback, you get training, and then you get opportunities to practice your skill in person. So that's
What profession you were looking at?
that's a good word.
So,
Showing
if there's one thing that you would say to any women out there who are looking to develop themselves, like whether it's in storytelling, if they're looking to be a businesswoman, if they're looking to go into a specific field of like specialty, whether it's like medical education, what's one word of advice to women out there that you would like give to them to help them keep
I would
going?
say, number one, you have to be focused. You have to really have that goal in your heart. You have to be willing to make whatever sacrifices you need to reach that goal. So you have to understand there are going to be some times you're not going to be able to participate in this or that. You're not going to be able to go here or there. You may not have time to talk to your friend on the phone as much or post on social media. You have to be willing to make the sacrifice so that you can put your effort in developing your goal and reaching your goal.
Thank you for sharing with us. If there's anywhere that we can find you, if people want to reach out and contact you, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Email Leah, Leah, Rich,
Leah, Leah underscore Rich, RICH at MSN.com.
Again, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us and coming to share for the Fourth Friday Story Hour. We are looking forward to seeing you again, make it every season at the time. Right, and then if you are interested in joining DABS, here we'll have, stay tuned, we'll have a couple messages about how you can get in contact with us.
Stories, stories, stories. What are stories?
Stories are simply something that happens every day.
Stories could have come from the past.
Stories could be happening right now.
Stories can be past, present, and future.
Stories can be happy.
Stories could be sad. Stories, stories, stories. Just what are stories? Stories are simply something that happens. Stories can be good. Stories can be bad too. Stories could be happy.
Stories, stories, stories. Just what are stories?
Stories could be happening right now.
Stories can be past, present, and future.
Stories can be true, like all of my stories.
Or stories could be made up.
Stories are something that simply happens.
Stories could be happening right now.
But the most important thing about
Stories must be told.
Hello, we are the Detroit Association of Black Storytellers, also known as DABS. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We offer many services, including storytelling, workshops, group facilitation. We host events. We perform at churches, schools, senior centers, and senior living facilities, birthday parties, family reunions, and even business conferences. We tell stories for all ages. Whether your event is large or small, we can accommodate it all. Contact us today to discuss how we can help make your event memorable. Call us at 313-442-3227 or visit our website, DetroitStorytellers.com. If you'd like to see us in action, check out our YouTube channel, Detroit Association of Black Storytellers. And remember, just a little dabs will make your event spectacular.
But the most important thing about
Stories must be told.
And if you're looking forward to joining DABS Storyteller again, you can scroll back to find our number and reach us, or you can go to our website at DetroitStorytellers.com, www.DetroitStorytellers.com. Now I'm going to bring out our featured storyteller for this month's episode, a new face to DABS organization, Cheyenne, aka Miss Ann. Now she has her own YouTube channel where she shares her own funny stories and entertains people, but she is also a singer and a majorette dancer, and now she is trying her hand at storytelling. So without further ado, here is Cheyenne, aka Miss Ann.
Hi, my name is Cheyenne. I'm going to be telling you one of the two funniest stories that happened. The first story title name is The Hanger. The Hanger was really funny, so the most funniest one I'm going to say it first. I woke up one morning and I was not feeling so well. I was a little sick, but I didn't care at my age. I was bored. Everyone else was asleep. I went on the couch and turned on the TV to watch people play with dolls and cars. I wanted to play with dolls and cars too and entertain other kids. So I went downstairs and grabbed all my toys that I could find that were really fun to play with, in my opinion. I went upstairs and I pressed them on my dresser. I found a hanger on one floor, but I did not care to pick it up. because I didn't want to. I started playing with the toys, and I felt like it was not enough. So I went into my parents' room to find my parents asleep and to find my sister watching TV. I stole my mom's phone, and I went to the camera. Before I walked out, my sister asked me what I was doing. I told her I was recording. My sister didn't care, but she wasn't feeling well either. I went to my room, seen the hanger on the floor. Instead of picking it up, I walked right over it. I set up the camera and I started recording. I started coughing before I started recording, but I did not care. Soon I started playing and entertaining people, acting like I had my own YouTube channel. After a while, I started coughing and choking. I had to leave the room and go get some water. I saw the hanger, but I still didn't pick it up. The hanger wasn't cooking for me to pick it up. After I got done pouring some water, I went back to realize I did not pause my video. So I had to restart and delete the other video. When I started the video again, I started turning it again, so I paused it and walked over the hanger to go get some more water. After a while, I kept playing with my dogs while recording. It seemed like I was using it. I started choking, but I didn't feel like getting water. But to the point I was turning red, I had to put down the card that I had in my hand, and I forgot to pause the video. And on my way out, I slipped on the hanger while it was still captured. And yes, I do have the video of me falling on the, I tripped over the hanger. I still have the video. And I looked around and acted like nothing happened. So before I got some water, I went to my parents' room to make sure that everybody heard here. My parents did not hear anything. My sister, she did not care. But when I told my sister today and I showed her the video, of course she was asking. When I told her, she was like, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, did you hear anything?" She said, "Just a bang, but I don't care." I was like, I slipped on a hanger. She was like, "Okay." And I walked out, filled with some water. My body was shaking. I didn't know what to do because I felt like I injured myself really badly. Just to find out that I was just okay. My parents woke up. My mom asked me where was her phone. I said, "Oh, it's in my room." She said, "Why is it in your room?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know." I took the phone and I found out the video was still recording. The video was recording for an hour. Nothing there. I was just not in the video anymore. After I gave her the phone back, she asked, "Why is it on a low percentage?" I was like, "I don't know." And so later on during that day, I was bored. I went back on her phone. I wanted to make another video just to find out that Aircopter saying that the story was truthful. And I forgot I made the video. So I wanted to upload the video onto YouTube. So I watched the video just to find out that I actually slipped on a hanger when I forgot. I showed my sister, and she's like, "What is this?" I was like, "Remember when I told you I fell on my hanger?" She was like, "Yeah, I remember." I was like, "I got it on video." She's like, "Let me see." I showed her the video, and I tried to hang on the door, but when I fell, I couldn't catch myself. She started laughing, and she told me to go show my mom. I didn't want to because I didn't want to let her know that I took her phone. So when I eventually showed her, she thought it was really funny, but she didn't want to have her phone either way. And I was actually like terrified. And everyone still laughs the video but me because to me it's like, it's funny, but I couldn't have it. So, but that's for that story. For the second story is called Slime. I had a solo part for one of my concerts, and I was singing one of these solo parts. And so my cousins were all excited for me, and my family came to my house. This story took place in 2017, and that's when slime was such a popular thing. So everywhere I turned my back, my sister was playing with slime. And I had got done being ready for my concert, about to leave. My hair was done, my dress was on. And I went to go see in the back where my cousins and my sister was doing. They were playing with slime. I asked if I could see one. And the thing that I was seeing with the slime was cool and fun. So I started stretching the slime, blowing bubbles in the slime. I even tried putting it around, but when I put it around me, the slime got stuck in my hair. And so when I realized it was in my hair, I started getting scared because I knew my mom was gonna yell at me. So I had to find a way to get the slime out of my hair. And my cousins saw me with the slime in my hair. All they did was make it worse. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's bad. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna tell your mom. I was like, no, wait, we have to think about this. We have to get this out because I have a concert and I don't want slime in my hair in front of a lot of people. So we quietly went to the bathroom trying to fit everyone in the bathroom, making it noticeable. But once we tried to get the slime out with some warm water, it wasn't really coming out. It was pretty chunky. It was right here, like a side part. And it was chunky right here. And just really glossy, and it was like some type of cleary slime. And when we tried to get it out, it wasn't really coming out because when slime is stuck in the carpet, that's it. You can't get it out. So when I was trying to get it out, and my cousin was trying to get it out, it was like, there's no chance. So I went out there and I thought everything was okay. Everyone asked me why my hair was so glossy. I said, oh, my cousin just redid my hair just to touch it up because I was playing too rough. And they said, okay. So I was happy that they didn't really take it serious because I lied. So I went back into the room to tell them that everything was okay and that they brought the joke that my cousin had redid my hair. Everything was just fine. I was in the car getting ready to leave. I had to make sure that my hair was not looking too glossy because I know what it looked like, and it was chunky slime. So we got to the place where the concert took place at. I was standing in the back room where we prepared ourselves to get on stage. I did not want to go, and I tried everything in my power to not go on stage. I asked my people to the bathroom. I asked that, can I not sing because I forgot the lyrics? I did everything. It just wouldn't come out. And every 2 seconds, I would touch my hair to see if it was still wet and still glossy, still sticky. And it was. I asked to go to the bathroom plenty of times. She would not let me. I asked if there was a mirror anywhere or a camera or anything available to see myself, to see my reflection. There was nothing available for me. So at this point, I was terrified because there would be light shining on me on my hair, and it would be just glossy right here and maybe right here. And I did not want that, especially in my age. And I was singing. So when we got on stage, I felt okay because I was going to sing with everybody for one part of the concert, and for the next part of the concert, I had to sing by myself. When I asked if I could not sing the solo part, they said, I don't know, maybe. So that took, I felt a little better relieved. But when I got on stage, we sung the whole part that we were supposed to sing as a class. And we sung that. No one didn't really seem to care or look at me, so I thought it was okay. But when my teacher dabbed me out so I can sing by myself, I thought that I did not have to sing it. So I was like, I thought that the teacher was like, who's going to do that? So I walked in front of the mic, and I was terrified, so it took me a minute to spit my words out to start the song. And when I started singing, everyone started looking at me, and I started getting a little terrified that I started stuttering inside the song, but that was only a one-time thing. Until everyone started clapping and just bringing joy to me, as if everything was okay. Even though I did have time in my hair, no one didn't really care. So I kept singing anyways. When I got done with singing, everyone was clapping and just woo, cheering for me. And when I walked on stage, they're asking why did I want to sing songs. I was like, I forgot the lyrics. It was like, no, you didn't, because you sung your best. I was like, I don't know, maybe it just came back into my head. When I asked them to the bathroom, I went to the bathroom. There was still slime in my hair, but I'm pretty sure no one didn't notice, but I'm the only person who noticed because my hair was very glittery and blue right here in the spot. And I had a pink dress on, so people had to think, like, what is wrong with her hair? When we went into the room to go see our parents and go get congratulated by everyone else, everyone told me that I did good. But my mom asked me why my hair was so glossy still. And I was like, oh, I don't know, when she put a lot of gel in it. When she had touched my hair, it was really sticky, and she found some blue stuff in my hair. She asked me what it was, I was like, I don't know. And so my cousin, Denise Hicks, told her that it was slime. I was like, why would you tell her? And my cousin was like, because it's still sticky, and everyone thinks you did good, so it really doesn't even matter. I was like, there's slime in my hair, do you not understand that? And she's like, it does not matter, it's okay, it'll come out. But it didn't come out the first time. I don't know why she didn't think it'll come out the next time. But obviously it did. I was just terrified. But my mom asked me, how did you get in there? I was like, I was playing with slime. But I should never be playing with slime or trying to put it over my body because that's what I see on YouTube. I see everyone doing stuff with slime on YouTube, so I decided to do it too. So when we got home, I told my mom that I put slime in my hair and it was an accident, and I told her the true story about how it really happened, and I lied to her. She said that I shouldn't have been playing with the slime anyway because I wasn't able to play with slime because I was doing stuff. So when I got in the shower trying to get the slime out my hair, I was washing my hair and the shampoo got into my eye. So it was a terrifying moment. Now when something happens to me, I don't want to cause a scene. So I started holding my breath and I started trying to get the shampoo out my eye. And I don't really remember, but I know that my eye was burning. And when I had looked down, there was blue stuff on my hands. So I was relieved because I knew the slime was coming out. When the slime was coming out, when I seen a chunk, when you look down, like when you're in the shower and you look down, I seen a chunk of slime on the tub, along with my hair attached to the slime. And I was like, is that my hair? It fell out, so I started touching my hair, but it was still there. So when I got out of the shower, I looked in the mirror to see if it was like a slime. It was still a little sticky, but it wasn't really there. So when I got out, I told my mom that it's not there, and I realized I wanted to see how I did in the performance. So I asked to see her phone because I knew she was recording. When I looked at the video, it wasn't really that noticeable, but you can see that it was very glossy. And I was terrified the whole time on the stage. I was stuttering on the stage, thinking that I did bad, and did okay. And it wasn't really showing, but that's it.
Hello, thank you for joining us on the DABS stage. This is your first time performing for DABS. So excited, so excited. I remember my first time on the DABS stage. I was nervous and almost in the back of the head when I were singing. Definitely. So, what was one thing that got you into storytelling that got you interested in telling stories?
Well, I just actually like to say my stories to people because I think when I say stories, I do that person job. It's funny. And I feel like I'm going to have people entertained. And that's why when on the first story, when I said on my hair, I wanted to entertain people when they can do it.
So, what's one woman in history that you feel like you look up to a lot? What about her makes you motivates you?
She motivates me a lot, and she tells me everything that I can do and how I have the power to do it. And I know I'm lazy, but she motivates me a lot, and she likes to tell me how I have the power in my hands to do it, and how I'm really good at things, and how I should start doing things more. But that's it.
Again, we're so glad to have you for the first time. Hopefully we can have you again on the DABS stage. A little girl told me that you have a 9,000 subscriber YouTube channel. Would you like to plug your channel and any other social media where people can find you?
Yes, I have a YouTube channel with followers on it and funny videos where you can watch it at. And it's called _shine. I would have to see it. Yeah,
Thank you again for sharing your stories, and we'll be right back again after these messages from our sponsor.
This month's episode is brought to you by A Place for You and Me, Detroit Unity Temple. Founded in 1916 as an inclusive spiritual community dedicated to teaching a powerful message that supports each person's unique path. Right there at 17505 2nd Avenue near Palmer Park. That's where you'll find challenges and opportunities of living meet the awesome power of God. A Place for You and Me, Detroit Unity Temple.
Thank you everyone for joining us for another installation of the Detroit Association of Black Storytellers 4th Friday Story Hour. Today we have Leah Rich, Cheyenne, and Maxine King. And we thank you again for coming and enjoying our show today. And we hope to see you guys next month for our next 4th Friday Story Hour. Have a good one.